Hello everyone, Rikasa here, and this is just a quick overview of the controller partners for Chaos Nightmare. So most people right now are probably going to be running one or even two controllers per team, and so having a good idea of how the different partners work for controllers as well as their utility is pretty important. So starting off with Yvonne, she is the only 3-star controller partner available right now for controllers, and so pretty much everyone is going to be having access to her. And so the passive effect of Yvonne is that she gives you a defense percentage bonus, as well as when the equipping character has not used an attack card for one turn, you get a small heal at the start of next turn. So this condition is pretty easy to fulfill on characters like Mika, for example, because you tend to remove her attack cards anyway, and so in later Chaos runs you pretty much never attack on Mika, and so you'll always be able to get the healing from this. The active skill, the Eagle skill, is that you get a small heal as well as 1 fortitude for one turn. The best part about this is that it only costs you 2 EP to use. And anything with low EP cost is nice because it's helping you cycle to your other Eagle skills faster, which could be your more important ones, such as the DPS Eagle skills or just higher forms of utility. And so having a solid effect in heal and fortitude on a low cost is actually quite nice. So this makes Yvonne a pretty solid partner despite being a 3-star, and most people will be able to get good use out of her for sure. Moving on to Alyssa, she is quite similar to Yvonne in the sense that she gives you a passive defense percentage bonus, and at the end of battle, she recovers some HP. The end of battle recovery only really comes into play in things like Chaos, and it's not really very useful in things like Basin, for example. The active skill is giving you a heal, and when you're in the injured state, you get a slightly bigger heal. The thing about the injured state is that this counts when you are 30% HP or below, and usually in higher Chaos difficulties, if you are 30% HP or below, you're probably about to die, because the bosses and elites just hit that hard in higher Chaos difficulties. So the injured bonus heal doesn't really come into effect that much, it doesn't really help too much. She also does give you 1 morale for one turn, and the Eagle skill is quite cheap at 2 costs, so it's not that bad overall. But to most people, I would probably just recommend Yvonne over Alyssa, because it's also much easier to get imprints on Yvonne due to her being a 3-star and Alyssa being a 4-star. So overall, I find Alyssa to be quite lackluster for a 4-star, and I think Yvonne is probably better or at least equal to her in most cases. Moving on to Arwen, who I think is very strong, her passive is that she gives you a passive HP and healing bonus, as well as this effect called Ponopoko's Cheer. And what this does is it gives you a damage reduction effect based on the enemies with attack intention on field, so 1 stack per attack intention. And it's basically 10% damage reduction at base, scaling with imprints. Attack intention is signified by the sword icon next to the enemy, and it just means they're going to attack you on that turn. So overall, the passive is very loaded with HP healing and damage reduction bonuses, and the active skill is a heal as well as 1 damage reduction. And the nice part about damage reduction is that it doesn't have a turn limit, unlike the fortitude from Yvonne, for example. So you can use this skill even when enemies are not going to attack you on that turn and you just want to heal up, and you'll keep the damage reduction for later turns, for example. It does cost 1 more EP, but the effect is also much stronger because the heal is bigger than the Yvonne and Alyssa heals, for example, and you also have no turn limit on the damage reduction. So overall, Arwen is a very strong partner in terms of defensive utility, and probably my favorite one when it comes to just damage mitigation and healing and stuff overall. So a very strong partner overall for controllers. Moving on to the 5-star partners and starting with Noelle, she is essentially Orlea's signature partner. She gives damage, shield gain, and heal amount bonus to the assigned combatants' retained cards, and you also deal some fixed damage based on how many retained cards you have in hand at the end of turn, and you also get a small damage bonus against instinct weak enemies. So essentially these are all effects tailored towards Orlea's kit, and no other controller can really make use of this unit right now, so I would only recommend running her on Orlea if you do have her. The active skill is a heal, and it also activates the retain effect of all cards held by the assigned combatant. Keep in mind this is only for the assigned combatant's retained cards, so it won't affect any other retained cards you have in hand from other units. So overall, her whole kit is tailored towards Orlea specifically, so I would only recommend running her on Orlea and not really anyone else. Lastly, we have Nyx, who is my personal favorite controller partner as well as the strongest one in my opinion. She gives you a passive HP and healing bonus, and the first time each turn that you draw using an ability, you also get a team-wide damage bonus for one turn. The strongest part about Nyx though is her Eagle skill in my opinion. She lets you discard up to 3 cards and then draw that amount plus 1. So for example, if you discard 3 cards, you draw 4. This is very good for cycling out of a dead turn in Chaos, for example, and in later Chaos runs, every dead turn could spell the end of your run. So this can be a real run saver at times. It's very costly at 4 ego points, but is well worth the cost in my opinion. Keep in mind this effect will also activate the instinct effect on any card, so units like Yuki, for example, can take good advantage of this effect. Overall, if I had to rank them, I would put Nyx at the very top with Arven slightly below her. Noelle is also extremely powerful, but only for one character, so I can't really rank her in the same way as I would the others. Alyssa and Yvonne are very solid, but fall slightly behind Arven and Nyx. So that would be my overall tier list for the controller partners, and I hope you learned something. Thanks.